Your take on the president's directive? It came up over the weekend to fight against bandit insurgency and the likes. Now, what's your own take on this?
Well, good morning once again. I think the president of the country, meant well by saying that all security agencies has got to, put together their acts and act decisively to make sure that security is, everybody's business. That's fine. But however, I keep wondering, when you keep talking about all this and you're not providing adequate security materials for our security forces to work with, then how are they going to do the job effectively? It is not just by providing vehicles and providing news or media to support it, but we have to see the work being done physically by the support of weapons and the kind of procurement they need to make the work done better.
But with all of with that directive, one will think that this will come with a directive to purchase weapons in order to fight this insurgency. But by and large, monies have been voted for the fight against insurgency, banditry, and the likes now. And weapons have been said to have been purchased over time. Now, do we have to talk about purchasing weapons again when monies have been voted for purchase of weapons? The military is said to have sophisticated weapons to fight insurgency. Over the years, we have voted money for the fight against insurgency.
Yeah, when we talk about the issue of money being voted for weapons and weapons being purchased physically, how many types of weapons can we see that can actually match the threat of all these kidnappers we have in the country? Remember, in Africa today, Nigeria happens to be one of the highest rated in the issue of ransom and kidnap of both locals and foreigners in the continent. So it is a worrisome thing that we just talk about it, but we are not seeing the physicality of all these materials being said and being budgeted for in reality to combat all these crimes. Now, let us leave that apart. Let us now start talking about the issue of training to mitigate the threat. We've not really seen adequate training being given, and we've not really seen enough recruitment of new forces being brought in to support the military, the police, and all the rest of people like that. So we have a long way to go. Yes, we are working it, but we still have to do more to make sure that lives and properties are saved in the country.
Now, taking from a cue from what you have said, now we have a long way to go. How do we shorten that way now? What can we do to fight these insurgents, these bandits head on, so that we do not keep having this over? This is gone for a very long time.
I know it's gone for a very long time, but as I've said, we're facing a new wave of threat that we've not really seen or we've not really tried to address very well. But however, how many of all these kidnappers have we actually seen being prosecuted by our judiciary system? So we have all this in place that we're not really addressing, and we have allowed it to be like a form of business in Nigeria. Remember, this is Christmas period now, heading towards Christmas period. A lot of security issues will be coming up, and most of it are going to be part of the kidnapping situation we are talking about. So we need to see decisive action being taken both internally, externally, and again, we beg Buhari, we beg every government to please make it inclusive of external bodies from probably diaspora to join in and see what they can offer in terms of relegating this issue to the minimum level. We've not seen that.
But we have people we have the US at a point and the UK coming in to help us. But how far did that go?
Well, it's not gone very well because there has never been a good platform for them to really see them work, or might be, some states that are really affected, like Kaduna, Abuja, Kano, Ondo states, Ibadan, and all the rest. I can imagine that, yes, I could see that they are doing some issues that are, okay, let us form a group, let us form a society, let us form a forum, and all the rest are happening, but we need to see it happen quickly and let them see the job being done. We have our boundaries that are really, really porous. We need to talk about it and see how all these organizations being formed are able to address and secure all those loopholes and areas. We can do it if we give them the chance, but the chance to be given is what we're talking about. We don't need to be partisan about security in Nigeria, but what I see, my own opinion is, we are too partisan about it.
In all of this now, I'm wondering, why is it taking so long to defeat this insurgency? I mean, Nigerian army, the Nigerian military is said to be the best in the whole of Africa and one of the best in the world. Now, why are we having this problem still till now?
You see, based on what you just said, towards my last end of the last appearance I did with you guys, I said it that if we do not stop the security partisan we have in the country, then we might not get a good result. And that is one key part that we're actually missing. You see, I have actually worked with some police departments in Nigeria, and I can tell you they are ready to work. They really want to do this job. But again, there are so many pegs. Let me put it that way. There are so many pegs that will not allow them to discharge their duties the way they are meant to discharge it. And again, if you look at it, some of the high-profile kidnappers we have seen, or alleged kidnappers we have seen being arrested, how many prosecution has been done so far? I keep asking each time I come down to the country to deliver training purposes and stuff, that where is Evans today? Where is Clifford Orji? Where is May right now? What exactly is happening? Some cases seem to have, gone silent, and we're not talking about it. And we've now seen it as a form of business in Nigeria, that banditry, kidnapping is another means of livelihood in the country, which we need to really address.
Well, Femi, some people have insinuated that this war against insurgency has become a money spinner for a lot of people within the ranks. Now, do you think that is true?
Well, I would tell you, they shouldn't look at it as a money spin or a money-making venture. However, it's appearing that way now because a lot of business owners can't even do their business, across the states the way they're meant to do it because of kidnap and all high-profile cases have yet to be resolved. So in a way, it's looking at it that way, but we shouldn't just address it or maybe make it a Christmas bonus for criminals that, yes, it is now a business venture for them. No, it is not. It is still a criminal offense, and anybody caught in this act has got to face the wrath of the law. But we are yet to see things being done. As I've said, if we refuse to deliver training programs for all our security agents in the right direction, in the right way, then we will not make progress. This is one of my biggest...
But from what we have seen over time, there has been trainings for the military, those in the creeks, those in Sambisa Forest, those in the northeast fighting the insurgency, and of course those in other parts of the country. We have seen constant trainings and all of that. Isn't that enough to aid their fight against insurgency and banditry?
Well, training is not enough because you mentioned just now we are training the military. What about the police? What about other private security agencies? What about the community that we're actually deploying all this military and all these police officers to? We need to let them see reason why all this training has been done. And again, the National Orientation Agency must come out and start addressing all these issues so that we have this public awareness into what is going on within our community. How many trainings have we actually seen being given to like the landlord association? Because all these actors, all these criminals are within our neighbors. So we need to address all this as well, but we're not yet addressing it. Until we see the grassroots training program, then we will say we are really talking tough on insecurity in the country.
So beyond the trainings now that you've mentioned, what else can be done to fight this?
We need to look into the welfare of our security, which is our police officers. We need to look into their welfare because a mentally stable security personnel will definitely discharge his or her duty. But if those ones are not there, then we are not yet making progress. Just like what I've said, we need to give power again to our local government chairmen and our councillors as well in different wards, because those are the areas that we're actually missing out, and these are where we see all this situation coming out from. Like the creek you mentioned, obviously the creek is not in the state capital of any state. So they are just sporadic pocket areas whereby we need to really address. We're not addressing all these areas. We're just focusing on the capital situation whereby the community are the ones suffering it the most. And when the community suffer it, everybody will definitely go down with it.
Now, talking about the community now, what about the involvement of the local vigilante groups in that area in the fight against insurgency and banditry and all whatnot?
I think this is a very hot topic you just mentioned right now, which I think I need to shed a bit of light with. If you look at the southwestern governors in Nigeria, which is Ondo, Ekiti, Osun, Lagos, Lagos, Ekiti, and all the rest, they're actually making progress in forming a form of security network that would definitely, discuss the issue of insecurity, kidnapping, and the rise as well. in within the Southwest. I hope the Niger Delta, I hope the northern part and South will definitely develop such like that, such skills so that we will know where we're going to. Having said that, yes, some states are making progress, whereby some states are not making progress. And we need to look at all this. Kaduna especially is a hotbed for kidnappers. We need to really support the governor and see how best we can make sure that all these issues are not diminishing image for the country, because anything that has to do with kidnap is going to affect investors, and what affects investors will definitely affect members of the public, and again, it's not a good thing for the country. Buhari is doing so well, but much has got to be done.
Okay, so the use of technology in the fight against insurgency and banditry, how do we deploy that? Because the world now is going digital and technology is being used in fighting crime. How do we deploy that to win this war?
We can actually deploy technology, but it now depends on the kind of technology that we are going to be using in different kind of security threats we face. Obviously, we saw in some social media platform some drones that are not even worth more than $100 being used by the military. And I keep wondering, how many minutes is this drones going to be parading the air before it goes down? So you see, we're not sophisticated enough to use the drones, or probably the kind of technology we need, or maybe the trackers we need to put in place. Until we have stable security system or restructure our security system, then we can start talking about the technologies we have. However, let us still even start with our physical security first before we start going digital with our security system. The kind of system we're facing in Nigeria today is nothing to do with the kind of technology we have in the western part. So let us deal with what we have at the moment, which is the physical security that we can see, and let's deal with that first.
Christmas period is here. Today makes it 1 month to Christmas, and we do not want to see an increase in insurgency or banditry in the country or in communities. Now, how do we sort out this problem? Is it to deploy more men to these communities, or is it to involve the vigilante group in more combat operations and all? What do you think can be done to reduce this to the barest minimum such that everyone can enjoy the Christmas?
We all want to enjoy Christmas, and Christmas is just barely 1 month or less than a month from now. If you look at the preparation and a whole lot that's going to be surrounding it. However, deploying more men is one part of it, and again, supporting those that are being deployed is another part. Just like I've said to you before during my last segment, we have the capacity to deal with this situation. But the question is, if we're too partisan about it, we're not going to have any good result. And apart from that, we need to look at the model being introduced by the Southwest governors.
Okay.
Same model must be at least, copied and, spread around the whole state so that we can have a good security communication force that will definitely deal with this kind of situation. I give it all to all governors, to the head of state, and to all security agencies. It is not easy to deal with criminal activities, but we still need to do more. And how do we do more? We need to involve the government as well, so that we can have another form of ideas to how do we help, how do we educate, and how do we provide solutions to all these problems. We cannot do it alone. It is our problem, and we need to deal with it precisely.
All right, Femi, now, in all of this, now, I know I've asked you this before, and I need to get more on this from you. Apart from the use of drones, now, technology is involved, social media and all of that. Now, how do we deploy this to move ahead?
Basically, apart from the issue of drones, the use of technology is very, very key part of all this situation. And as I've said to you, we can't just use anyhow technology in this situation. The technology we have to use must definitely be a way to mitigate the situation we have. Then using the social media aspect of it again, are we actually using it positively? Or we're just using just anyhow, just to probably showcase that yes, we are fighting insecurity, whereby we're not even saying anything or doing anything about it. So we need to be very careful. not to spend money where money is not meant to be spent. So technology-wise, what are the kind of track devices we need to use? Or do we need to use all these track devices with the National Union of Road Transport Workers? Because they are the biggest road users in our country today. Are we actually going to provide all this technology with them or not? These are the kind of situation, addresses we need to have, and we need to look into it very well. Do we need to provide all these tracking devices to all our security agencies or not? It goes a long way, spans a long way, but again, do we have any recommendation into what kind of tracking devices we need to use? That is something we need to look into as well.
Okay, so I know you're in Scotland at this point, but also in the US, and we'll see that the military, the soldier, the police, and all whatnot have this sense of patriotism towards their country. They fight with their whole heart, and then what you hear is America only. That's whenever there's a war to be fought. But how do we grow this sense of patriotism in our own military, men and women of the military and the police and all other paramilitary organizations, such that when there's an insurgency or when there's a problem, they go all out to fight and they know that the country is backing them?
Well, you see, one thing we need to really understand is this. The security services we have in Nigeria, how open are they to the member of public? Because this has got to do with engagement right now. Because we don't have the security engagement whereby citizens can just walk freely and give information to our security officers. Because any information given has got to be dealt with, and they have to work with it, either positive or negative. We need to look into it this way. If we don't have a positive mindset for our citizens, and if we don't have this friendly attitude towards our citizens, the security agencies will find it very difficult. Don't let me omit this very point. I was in security state CID, Yaba, Lagos, some few weeks ago, and the kind of engagement I had with them, yes, they really want to work. They are working, but again, if the leaders refuse to work with them so that they can share ideas with the member of public in a more positive way, the member of public can share ideas with them, then we will head nowhere. As I said, towards Christmas, we have so much we need to do. God bless Nigeria, and we will definitely work alongside with them to make sure that we have good security in our country today.
And on that God bless Nigeria note, I will end this interview. Thank you very much, Femi, for talking to us.
Thank you so much.